Pray for us, guys. Austin's drilling the holes. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So like I was saying last week, my brother is home and he brought over the subframe connectors that he got shipped to his house instead of here because he's an idiot. And went ahead and got the filler panel all done up, so it is now ready for some slick sand, some primer. That way we can get a coating on it, keep it protected. And what we're going to do today is actually what we did, I should say, sorry, is we cleaned out the entire garage, cleaned up our workspace, blew out the car. It's all nice and clean. So what we're gonna do is actually put these subframe connectors on. And what we're gonna do is weld them to the back of the car, to the frame, and then there's 2 bolt holes. We're gonna have to line one up and then drill another hole. So we'll get those installed. That way we can take the rear end out, take the subframe off, and start doing some of the fiberglass body filler underneath the car, waterproof it, and then prep it for our bed liner. So we went ahead and got these subframe connectors from PTFB, ProTouringFbody.com, and this is the side that bolts to the stock subframe, or the stock frame rail I should say. And we're not going to actually bolt these in, we're going to weld these fully on, and then the fronts are going to be bolted to the subframe. Now there's a lot of controversy of people saying weld both sides, but then if you weld the front, you can't get the subframe off, and for whatever reason, if we need to get the subframe off, we'd have to cut it off, and we're not going to cut it off. We're just going to bolt it on. If we run into issues later, we'll fix it then and kind of worry about it now.
All right, so we went ahead and mocked up the subframe connectors, went ahead and put the bolt in so we can get the reference point for where we gotta grind and get everything ready to weld in the back. Once we have that done, we're going to go ahead and prep the front of the subframe for the new bolts to go in, just so we have easy accessibility of taking on and off the car.
Pray for us, guys. Austin's drilling the holes. Alright guys, got the first subframe connector in. It's not fully welded yet. It's actually not welded at all. But all 4 of our holes are drilled. All 4 of our bolts and nuts are in there. And right now it's just being held up by the force of these bolts. And it's kind of a tight fit back there for where it hits on the frame. So that's a good sign. But yeah, I mean, these things look killer. Got a nice tight clearance up to the floor, which is fine. Higher up that they are, the better. But I mean, honestly, they're not even like that low, like maybe 2 inches, 2.5 inches tops. Like, it's probably hard to see, but it's probably as low as they are. But I mean, your cow tracks stick out freaking like 4 inches. So I mean, I guess we'll never off-road the Camaro. All right guys, so it's day 2. We got the car jacked up yesterday. We got all 4 of our holes drilled for the subframe connectors, and we ended up not welding them in because we figured we were going to coat the entire underside before we weld them on. Kind of seems a little redundant, but what we're going to do is we're going to coat it, and then we'll go ahead and take that coating off where we need to weld the subframe connectors onto. That way everything's protected. We don't have a bare metal spot or a rusty spot or anything like that. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to take the rear end out and start prepping everything. Start doing our body filler on the floor pans and all the other transitions that we did, make it all nice and smooth and get it ready for a Raptor liner. All right guys, you saw us take the rear end out, and it's a little bit different than what I put it in. We took it all out as an assembly. That way it's easier, it's faster, and that way when we put it back into the car, it's just a few more things to do. So Austin, what do you think about that rear end?
It's pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty impressed by the quality and craftsmanship of the Steel-It coating that I did. So yeah, so now we're gonna move on to the subframe. So we're gonna get the car supported, we're gonna get the subframe supported, and start taking off the bolts for the main attach points, and obviously our steering column, or sorry, steering shaft. And actually we're going to modify this. We're going to be cutting it, and I have some 1-inch hollow DD steering shaft tubing coming. That way we can make a slip joint intermediate shaft for the steering. That way if we get into a wreck or a crash or something, the steering box and the shaft doesn't harpoon us in the heart. So it's a safety thing, and honestly I shouldn't have overlooked it. I should have kind of stopped and did a little bit more research, but it's all right. We're gonna fix it. We're gonna make it safer.
Brake lines, good. Not rolling. Alright, next up we're going to go ahead and take the column out, the shifter out, and we're going to get the underside ready for prep. We're going to grind all the welds and all the lapping for the floor pans, and then we're going to get everything ready to get iced, bonded, sealed, and then everything that we need to do for the coat.
All right, so Austin's currently taking out the shifter, and finally got our stickers in from Sticker App, and I think they came out pretty awesome. And you already know that we've got one stuck up on the air compressor because that's how we do it, and they came out pretty awesome. Pretty happy with them. Don't even know really what we're gonna do to them. I guess we're gonna hand them out, whatever. But also our stepdad and our mother came by and dropped off some finish sand for us. Is from Evercoat, and this is the 2-in-1, basically a high build primer and etching primer in one. That way we could coat our firewall panel properly and have it last. So all this black stuff, like we were mentioning before, this is just cheapy spray can primer. This will come off, and then what we will do is put an actual coat of primer on here, on the dash and in the back, and any other spot that we had to do a repair or anything like that. So those coatings were just temporary to keep it from flash rusting and then having to sand it back off. I mean, even though we have to sand it anyway, but just kind of for insurance. Yeah. The B&M Pro Ratchet coming out. There's an Allen key on this side.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. So that's a ratchet shifter, and yep, we're not gonna use a ratchet shifter. We're gonna get the I think we're gonna, what are we gonna do? The B&M, the Pro Stealth, or the Pro Bandit? One of them's big, one of them's small, so it's probably gonna be the B&M Pro Bandit for their power glide that we're gonna get.
Do a Hurst lightning shifter.
No Hurst lightning shifter. Yeah, so ratchet shifter coming out, came with the car. I don't even know why we haven't taken it out yet. I don't know. So Austin and I, we've been going back and forth. We're trying to figure out what either coating we're gonna put on the inside or if we're just gonna paint it. Because I think we're gonna lean toward putting some carpet back in the car. So just to kind of hide up all the patches and everything like that. So we're thinking about coating it, and then, you know, more that we thought about it, I think the less we're gonna do it. I think we're just gonna put it's kind of just some standard, just some black paint on there just for better protection. We'll prime it, we'll paint it, and then we'll go ahead and throw some carpet down just so it kind of looks more complete. Our headliner board is like in perfect condition, so we're gonna take the headliner out, strip that, and then put like a nice piece of vinyl or like a kind of like some pleather over it just so it's easy to clean. So it's not gonna be a full interior car, but we're gonna get some interior pieces just so it just kind of has like a better aesthetic to it. So it's not going to be a full-blown gutted car with nothing in it but a passenger seat and one gauge. So I mean, it's not a big deal. I think it's going to look better than what we were planning on doing. But the underside is definitely getting our bed lining coating, just because this is not a show car. This is going to be a street-driven car. You know, if we're doing race weeks and stuff like that, you don't want to worry about paint underneath the car getting chipped and dirty and blah blah blah. One coating, put it on, leave it, don't have to ever mess with it again. So that's going to end this video, you guys. So definitely subscribe if you want to see the next part of this, where we do all the body filler, get it all done, get it primed, and get it coated. We're gonna do the firewall, we're gonna do the trunk, we're gonna do the entire underside of the car, put the subframe back on permanently, put the rear end back in permanently, and be done with it. So thanks for watching, you guys, and we'll see you in the next episode.